Hey everyone, my name is Ben and thanks for stopping by the channel today. Today I'm joined with Sydney.
Hello guys!
My friend, she's an adoptee as well, and I
am.
wanted to bring her in on this conversation because I wanted to talk and touch on the whole Myka Stauffer situation. Myka, Huxley, and James, and I thought that the best way to do that would be to bring another perspective and just have open conversation and go through maybe 5 or 6 questions.
Yep, that's our plan.
Cool. So let us know what you think. We're here to share our perspective just on our lived experiences. You know, I think that it's important to make a disclaimer saying that we're not Huxley, we're not in this situation.
We will never know exactly how he feels, but we feel as adoptees ourselves, we can give input based on, as Ben just said, our lived experiences and you know how we feel about the situation.
Cool. Okay.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So the first question is, how do you think you'd feel if you were in Huxley's position?
I think I would feel very traumatized because the way that I view my adoption currently and have viewed it pretty much all my life is abandonment has been a really salient thing for me. And I feel like what I've experienced really surrounds that, just the physical act of giving up your child, and then also how that has impacted me emotionally. I feel like so if I were Huxley, having to have gone through that twice, I think is very serious thing. And so I don't think that I would be happy about the situation, and I definitely don't think that I would feel comfortable. And I think it would take a long time to heal. But I think if Huxley has support and if Huxley, you know, recognizes his resilience, he'll be able to heal from that. But I definitely think it's a traumatizing experience. Also because as babies and as young children, we don't have verbal communication. We don't have the tools to express how we feel about certain things, and the sensations and the trauma that we feel gets manifested in our bodies. You know what I mean? It's not always tangible, right? So in relation to how Huxley experiences it, he might have those sensations of being left and being abandoned, but not know how to process them, you know? And I sort of felt like I was like that for the longest time too.
How do you think the complex of abandonment has affected your life?
That's a good question, Ben. I think specifically it's impacted my ability to trust people. And specifically in the sense of I'm always afraid that when I get close with somebody that they're going to leave me. And then I turn that inward on myself. And when you sort of relate that back to Huxley's situation, what if he has this narrative? What if this narrative starts to form in his head that, well, I wasn't good enough, that's why they left me. And I feel like that's a narrative that adoptees can relate to. I can for sure relate to that. And so I think it's definitely impacted the way that I interact with others and, you know, my worth, how I view myself. I think it's directly related to my self-confidence, and it's taken years and a lot of like therapy and just self-work to be able to like get through that, you know? And obviously I'm speaking for myself. This experience is unique for everybody, but yeah. How about you? How would you feel if you were in Huxley's position?
I think it's important to recognize that I am exterior to this whole family and to this situation. Any transitions in life, especially as a child, can be largely impactful. And when I think about my life and my early childhood, I think about going to school for the first time. That being a big deal, and that being something that I was nervous about, but also overcame. But I also think about my parents separating as a child. I mean, they separated when I was 5 years old or so, and I remember just not understanding. And I think that sense of not understanding is something that Huxley might be experiencing now.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And even in the future as well. Whether or not Huxley's new family is going to be a better situation for him, which I hope that it is.
Same.
The truth of the matter is there are unknowns there. And that's going to be something that Huxley has to take in and come to terms with.
I myself, I didn't even know that much about rehoming. Consistency and stability are like incredibly integral to the socio-emotional development of a young child, of a baby, of an infant, like you were saying. And, you know, even if Huxley doesn't remember exactly what happened, he will, I believe, experience like that inconsistency, and he'll feel that instability. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah.
Cool. So yeah, that was question 1. Let's move on to the second question. Where do you think the line is drawn between intention and action? So maybe I can answer this one first.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that she was probably well-intentioned. That being said, I think that she got in over her head. Once she moved back to the U.S., of course she had 3 and then 4 other kids, biological kids, and at that point she was trying to play catch up and try to...
That's a good way to describe it, playing catch up.
Yeah.
To get Huxley adjusted in the same way that her other kids were adjusted.
Exactly.
I think you said it really well. She was very in over her head. I think she, maybe she didn't do enough research. Maybe she just thought she was prepared, and maybe she just, made a mistake about in terms of gauging how prepared in the place she was in to be able to take care of another human being in that way. We don't know, the day-to-day interactions between what Myka did, what Huxley did. I mean, there have been videos and certain things that have come out, but I can't speak on how their relationship went specifically. But I do think that she got to a place where she couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
That brings the question to the forefront of what are your limits? What she wasn't in tune with herself to know what her limits were.
Yeah.
And then therefore Huxley suffered because of it. I don't think it's easy to give up a child, but I think at the end of the day, it was something that, it's Huxley's needs come first. And I also think that the whole process of Huxley's adoption should not have been broadcasted in the way that it was. When she was making her videos, was she actively thinking to herself, okay, I'm going to profit off this? I don't think that she was. I really don't think that she was, in my opinion. This is just my opinion now.
Right.
But I do think that, like you said, because of what has happened and because she didn't take the time to think about how all of this is going to impact Huxley's socio-emotional development as a human being, yes, in that case, I do think that she should give back to him. And give back to the situation. And I think by donating to a trust fund or something like that, because even though intentionally she didn't go in it saying I'm going to make money off of this kid, I'm going to make money off of this adoption, the truth is that she did. And it's not like that money is gone. Right. You know what I mean? And so I hate to make this conversation about money, but I think it's a huge part of the situation. It's a huge part of It's a major reason why people are very upset with this, and especially people in the adoptee community, because adoption is not something I think that you should profit off of. I think that the fact that he is on the spectrum, I think that also plays a role in how he processes things, because I did take a class on individuals with developmental intellectual disabilities, and people process things at different rates, and people process things differently. They still feel things, so Huxley still feels pain. We all still feel pain, but he may just interpret that in a different way than maybe a neurotypical person. Right. And so I think that definitely is going to impact the way he experiences this. I mean, this is a traumatic and this is a huge thing. He may not realize it now, but yes, in the future, he's going to think back, and this is going to become tangible for him in some way.
How might the publicity of this situation impact Huxley in the future?
Well, I think that the publicity on this situation will confuse Huxley. Because imagine growing up and not being fully aware at the time of what was happening to you, but then having everyone outside of you, the external world, trying to step in and give their opinion and make judgments. And theories and comments about what happened to you. Yeah. I think it would be overwhelming for Huxley to experience all of this publicity while at the same time coming to terms within himself about what he went through. I could imagine there being a lot of pressure, and I could imagine him being impacted by, imagine having a bunch of people you don't know talk about your mom or talk about you, and it's just I'd imagine he'd get frustrated, but then again, I don't know exactly how he would react, but I think it would definitely be a lot. I think it also brings up the question of who should be commenting on it. The fact that we as adoptees, and we have lived being adoptees, and we have that lived experience, I don't want to say gives us credibility, but it puts us in a position where we can really speak about these issues, even though we are not experiencing Huxley's lived experience. Right. You know what I mean? But yeah, I definitely agree with you. I definitely think he'll probably grow up and be like, who are all these random people commenting on my personal life, you know? I mean, it's just, it's a level of exposure that's just like too much. It's like overbearing.
So why is the conversation primarily centered around Myka as a parent and not James?
So this one is interesting, this question, because I myself, when I first heard about the situation and did some research on it, I didn't see anything about James. Like I couldn't find a single article where anybody was mentioning or singling out James for, you know, playing a role in the situation.
Yeah.
And I think it speaks to the stereotypes of the way we shame mothers and the way what we choose to focus on, you know? Like, motherhood is something that's always talked about in society, has been talked about in society for years and years and years. And I think, you know, and it's also blaming the woman. Like, I feel like women get blamed in domestic violence situations. Women get blamed when things just go wrong. And it just seems to me that, like, the male figure, the male sort of party member is just overlooked. And the thing is, it's powerful because even when I was, as I said before, even when I was looking at this stuff, I didn't even think about him. Like, I, myself, as a woman, didn't think about his role in it. And I was like, oh, wow, like, I should think about that, you know? So yeah, I definitely think that it speaks on those stereotypes, and it's just like he doesn't seem to be carrying any of the onus of the decision.
Yeah.
Like, or, you know, no one seems to be blaming him, and it would be interesting to know how he feels about it, because he also hasn't said anything since the whole situation became publicized. Like, he hasn't spoken about it or addressed it in any way.
Yeah, I think, I mean,
what do you think as a man?
One, I expect this in our patriarchal society.
Yeah, patriarchal
like, very unfortunately.
Yeah, and basically this situation with Huxley is all, you know, we're all trying to think of what Huxley is feeling, what Huxley's emotions are. And we don't associate men or fathers with this idea of contributing to the emotional development of children. Mm-hmm. We only associate that with mothers.
Yeah.
And
or primarily, like
primarily with mothers, and I think that's one of the reasons why Myka's the only one that's talked about, because Myka's the mother, James is the father. James doesn't have anything to do with Huxley's emotions. You know, that's what's said, and because of that, he gets off free.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and that is very, very concerning, because parenting is. When there's two parents, it's a co-parenting job. Mm-hmm. There's two people involved, and that parenting responsibility falls on both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully that was more clear than what I just said.
No, that was good. That was good.
Okay. We'll add that in.
Women take on the burden of motherhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, women are held to such high standards, like you said. Like, the fact that nobody has said anything about his role in it, and he hasn't even bothered, no one's pressured him to speak up. Yeah, it's pretty representative of the dynamics between men and women in society as a whole.
We, as people commenting on this whole situation,
publishing
a video to YouTube, we also have responsibility to be thoughtful. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters, or the most important thing, is making sure that Huxley is okay now.
His needs are met.
His needs are met. Yeah, his needs are met now. And in the future.
And in the future, too, yeah.
And making sure that this situation, that this YouTube video is going to be something that is helpful to him and not harmful. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the last question here is, what would you say to Huxley?
I would say...
that we're here for him.
I would say that we're here for him, and I would say that I hope he feels loved.
Yeah.
Because I think, as human beings, as adoptees, wherever you're from, you want to be loved, you know? You want to be able to feel like you have a home. You don't want to feel displaced. You want to feel like you're loved for who you are and that you're accepted for all that you are. Based on the situation, we know that Huxley has been through a lot. And I really, truly hope that the new family that he's with is able to adequately and sufficiently provide for his needs. I hope that they can fill his heart with love. Like, I know that sounds very, you know... sounds kind of cheesy, but
it's true.
I think a lot of adoptees feel like they're not worthy of being loved, that they're not good enough, which is something that I touched on before. But I hope that Huxley at some point, you know, realizes that he is, and also realizes that he has resilience and that he's made it this far, even despite what he's been through.
Resilience exists in adoptees, whether or not they realize it.
Yeah.
So when I think about all of my friends who are adoptees, of course we all have different personalities and we all have different experiences.
We all come from different walks of life, despite having that one shared experience.
Completely different backgrounds. We're all individuals, but the one thing that brings us all together is this sense of resiliency.
Mm-hmm. Even if Huxley doesn't recognize that he has resilience, even if he isn't cognizant of that resilience, it doesn't mean he doesn't have it.
Exactly.
And I think with adoptees in general, we focus so much on trying to get through that we don't realize when we have. And resilience is something, at least for me, like I've gone through things in the past and I've gone through them, but it's like only when you really take the time to think about like, oh my God, wait, like I made it through, like I survived, I'm alive, I've done it, you know what I mean? It's just such a powerful thing, and I really do hope that Huxley has that experience and that he recognizes and appreciates his own resilience, because he has been through a lot. And I truly believe that with love and support and belief in himself, he will be okay.
Yeah.
The
last thing that I'd mention is the adoptee community is here for you.
Yeah.
I'm here for you. Sydney's here for you. And if you ever need a helping hand in the future, there are people to talk to, people that will love and support you for exactly who you are and who you've become. So we're sending you lots of love, and we hope that you're doing really well in your new family.
And we believe in you.
We believe in you. Yeah. All right.
Thank you for joining us today while we had this conversation about the situation. We hope to see you soon.
Yeah, we hope to see you soon. I think Sydney will come back onto the channel
I'll be back
at some point. And yeah, this was a little bit different of a video, but I thought it was important for us as adoptees to speak about this issue.
And dissect
how we share our perspective.
Yeah.
And I think that's it for now. Peace.
But then you get this little picture, and suddenly it begins to kind of feel real and have a little soul in it. And you begin to bond with the picture and fantasize about the picture and wonder about the picture. And then you start thinking there's an individual and I'm an individual, and are we going to be right together? And are they going to love me? And am I going to be good to them? And are they going to be glad to be with me? And is the child going to feel like this was a good thing? And all those human thoughts start coming in, which I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure a birth parent has as well. I've never been a birth parent. But I think it's different in its own way when you're adopting a child, wondering if the child's going to feel that you're the right parent for that child and that you're glad. And we were American white queers, and you were a child from Asia, a boy, and like maybe you would have rather had a different situation than us.